Right, the Steam Spring Sale is here, and if you've glanced at the Wargames section and thought, where on earth do I begin, you're not alone. My name is Tom, this is LT Gaming. If you like any type of gaming, deeper recommendations and retro titles, consider subscribing to the channel and give this video a like and help it get out there on the algorithm for more wargamers. So Luke and I have been digging through and we picked out 15 war games that we think are worth a look in this sale, mixing proper grognard classics with some graphical standouts that still bring that depth we all look for. Okay, enough talk, let's get into it. Sea Power, Naval Combat in the Missile Age, 20% discount, €39.19. Okay, kicking things off with a lovely little title and definitely one of the more modern and visually impressive games on this list. It's a Cold War naval warfare sim from the lead designer of Cold Wars, another classic, and it's built around NATO and Warsaw Pact clashes with real-time combat, advanced sensors, aircraft, submarines, the whole shebang. What I really like about it though is the simulation depth. It's just properly atmospheric. I mean, if you play it in real time, it's just ridiculously immersive. You might as well have signed up for the Navy. If you want a really cat and mouse style war game, you can't really go wrong with this one. Just bear in mind it is in early access, so it does come with that caveat. Master of Command, 15% discount, €25.49. This is a very fun one if you like your war games with a bit more of a roguelike campaign structure behind them. It is a real-time tactical strategy game set during the 7 Years' War, where you don't just fight battles, but you have to manage supplies, customize your regiments, promote officers, and basically just try to keep your army alive across a procedural campaign where losses do matter. It's easy for me to recommend because it does scratch that army building management itch that I personally have. You're constantly tweaking equipment, shaping your force and making your decisions that will carry the game forward, and it just gives a lovely little sense of momentum and ownership. I will say enemy behaviour can be a little bit wonky at times, but even with that I do highly recommend it just because the loop is very satisfying. Strategic Command World War I, 60% discount, €16.34. Now this is a title both Luke and I enjoy a lot. If you have any interest in the First World War, and I know a lot of you do, I can happily recommend it. Now we're going to the turn-based side of things here, so we're not so much focused on the graphics but the gameplay, and this one covers all the major theatres of the conflict from the opening stages of 1914 through to later offensives. You have diplomacy, research, entrenchment, large-scale military planning, all the stuff you're all gonna love, I know it. But the real strength with this one for me is just a very approachable kind of game. Systems are straightforward and it's got this incredibly Moorish feel once you get going. Absolutely embodies that just one more turn vibe, and this is absolutely a game that can quietly eat up an entire evening. NavalArt, 20% discount, €14.79. NavalArt is one for the tinkerers. Rather than just handing you ships and telling you to go shoot things, it lets you design your own warships, test them, tweak them, and then bring them into battle, which gives a very hands-on and different feel from a more traditional wargame. Part of the appeal here is really going for this living project vibe. It is still officially in early access, but the dev uses player feedback to improve that, so exactly how it's supposed to work, and there's a big emphasis on community sharing through Discord and the workshop. So if you do like naval combat with this creative sandbox twist, this is a very easy one to take a look at. Hex of Steel, 50% discount, €12.49. Alright, this is one of the gateway drug picks on this list if you are curious about hex-and-counter war games but don't want to be immediately buried in historical admin. It is a polished World War II turn-based strategy with loads of scenarios, multiple theatres, some strong solo options, and enough flexibility to make it either fairly relaxed or much more realistic depending on how you want to play it, which is crucial for me. And this is why it works so well. It is light enough to be welcoming, but still has all the settings and systems for someone who wants much more tactics and basically more demand on them. So yeah, it's a very easy recommendation from me if you just want to look at getting into this side of the wargaming genre. Ultimate General Civil War, 75% discount, €7.24. This game is an absolutely no-brainer for me to recommend if you like tactical and strategic wargaming. Yes, this is a real-time one, but don't let that put you off even if you don't like RTSs normally, because the real appeal here is the campaign layer, the army building, the way everything kind of comes together to carry weight across dozens of battles. You start simply and you rise through the ranks, and then you get deeper into command skills, force composition, and shaping everything like your army over time. win, lose, scrape by, suffer a disastrous defeat and then insist it was someone else's fault. It's all part of the fun, and I think this one's worth a look at full price, so no brainer on sale. Graviteam Tactics Mius-Front, 35% discount, €20.79. Now I think this is a really interesting title, and I'd probably describe it more as a battle simulator than a broad strategy game. It's set on the Eastern Front around the Mius River in 1943, and it mixes turn-based operational layer with real-time tactical battles. It's absolutely packed with systems around morale, ballistics, terrain, artillery, vehicle damage, all sorts of stuff. And though I think it is probably more for a niche audience, I do think anyone who's interested in military history and this specific period of war will find something fun here. It's not a quick or easy to learn game though, it does have layers of mechanics, its own logic, and the game does ask you to meet it halfway, but if you do, you're going to have a whole boatload of fun. Rule the Waves 3, 40% discount, €23.39. Okay, this is proper deep wargamer stuff now, so it's goodbye sexy graphics, hello sexy spreadsheets, and that's not really a sentence I thought I would ever say, but if that appeals to you, you're likely the target audience. It's a naval warfare sim spanning from 1890 to 1970, where you're designing ships, managing fleets, fighting tactical engagements, and essentially wrestling with the political and economic side of things as well. What makes it really fun is it does give the full package. Ship design is properly thought out and entertaining, tactical ship-to-ship combat is strong, and this wider strategic layer gives you plenty to chew on. It's also worth noting that Rule the Waves 3 Expanded Battles is just launched on the 19th of March as well, and that brings quick battles, historical scenarios and a lot more, so a tidy little game. Okay, just a quick pause to say, if you're enjoying this video, do consider subscribing. I know most of you watching aren't, but it really does help the channel grow quicker and allows us to make more content. A like on the video helps as well, especially when it comes to war games and giving them more visibility on YouTube, so pop down and hit that thumbs up. Alrighty, back to it. Saratoga, 20% discount, €7.80. Saratoga is one for the hex-and-counter grognards, no question about it here. It's a digital adaptation of GMT Games' Saratoga, which is volume 1 in the Great Battles of American Revolution series, and it recreates the Battle of Saratoga in a turn-based format around hex maps, counters, leadership, terrain, die rolls, and of course proper old school board war game logic. What I like here is very faithful to that tabletop style, and it also gives you the big advantage at being able to play against the AI, and of course you can jump into online play as well if you prefer. 3 scenarios including alternate history angles, so yeah, just a lot of fun and one to check out. Field of Glory 2, 80% discount, €5.79. This is the ancient era pick on this list, though you can absolutely pick your preferred time period across the wider series with expansions like Rise of Persia for example, but the base game is set in Rome and gives you turn-based tactical battlefield full of historical armies, a real focus on being positioned properly, and just this old school logic that you find in these type of war games. To me, it feels like a true strategy game. It's not something everyone's going to pick up and instantly love, but if you do enjoy the slower side with smarter tactical warfare and deep historical simulation, it's going to be hugely satisfying for you. Command Modern Operations, 60% discount, €31.94. Okay, on to one of easily the most detailed and rewarding modern military strategy games I've ever played, and Luke also says the same. It covers post-World War II conflicts through to present day and beyond, and the level of realism here is frankly a bit ridiculous in the best possible way. From radar and sensor mechanics to aircraft, ships, submarines, ground units, doctrine, weapon systems, it's got it all. And it was built as a cross-domain wargame, mainly targeting tactical and operational scale, but it can stretch wider as well. What makes it feel special is that it really does feel like a proper command sim rather than just a strategy game wearing a serious face. You're working with air, sea, land, and even strategic assets across a huge range of scenarios, and the game leans really hard into realism. The catch is, it has a steep learning curve, and I mean very steep, but if you are interested in modern military strategy and you want to put some time in, this is probably one of the best games you could pick up. Panzer Corps 2, 60% discount, €15.59. Alright, it's an absolute beast of a turn-based war game, and my recent exhaustive review of it has properly dragged me back into playing Panzer Corps 2. What I really like about it, it's not the most hardcore game in the genre, and the upside of that is it leaves a lot of room for really smart mechanics. You have these big branching campaigns, over 1,000 unique units, and a system built around movement, combat, spotting, encirclement, weather, and supply rather than frantic clicking. And the bit that keeps me hooked is how much ownership you get over your force. You make up your core army and carry it from battle to battle. So yeah, it's a very approachable one by Wargame standards, but there's still a ton to chew on, and this is exactly why it's so easy to sink back into. Fantasy General 2, 80% discount, €7.79. Now it's certainly not the flashiest game on this list, but if you like slow, thoughtful strategy, and a very satisfying one at that, then you're going to connect with Fantasy General 2. We're talking turn-based fantasy wargame with hex battles, heroes, loads of unit types, and a proper campaign where units level up and move forward through scenarios with you. It has deep tactical combat, plenty of replayability, and a lovely feeling of gradually building something over time. There is a steep learning curve though, and it will punish you if you're not precise. So yeah, it's great for the fans who enjoy planning every move, maybe less so for those who want faster action and a bit of a dopamine hit. Close Combat 2, A Bridge Too Far, 40% discount, €3.53. This is the retro pick on the list to keep you old school lot happy, and this is one Luke and I grew up with, so there's definitely a bunch of affection here from us. It drops you into Operation Market Garden, has you fighting across 3 fronts in real time, reinforcements, territory gains, troop fatigue and morale, and your battlefield losses all carry forward, so it's a big part of why this one still feels tough and compelling to play. You could pick a lot of games from the Close Combat series, and a big reason is because they don't just ask you to win the battle right now, they also ask you to think ahead about the ones coming up. And there's a huge amount of nuance in this game. Your units can become war weary, and they can push back on your orders, and the resource allocation layer means you're constantly deciding where your limited reinforcements should actually go. So yes, very much a retro title, but if you like tactical war games, this will still resonate today. Regiments, 25% discount, €9.59. Luke and I have a real soft spot for Regiments because this game helped take LT Gaming over 1,000 subs back in the day, but thankfully that nostalgia isn't doing all the heavy lifting here because it also happens to be a bloody good game. It's a Cold War gone hot real-time tactics game set in Germany in 1989, and it is built around platoon level combat, artillery, air support, large ops, and that lovely balance of accessibility and battlefield depth. What I've always liked about it, it's very easy to understand without being shallow. You don't have to micromanage every poor bloody soul on the field. You command formations, make calls, and react to something that has plenty of bite. Winds of Change DLC is very good too, so plenty to unpack here.